Investigating the ecology of endangered species and habitat preservation involves understanding the ecological requirements of endangered species, identifying threats to their survival, and implementing strategies to conserve and restore their habitats. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you delve into this field. Gain a foundation in ecology. Start by gaining a foundational understanding of ecology, the study of interactions between organisms and their environment. Learn about ecosystem structure and function, population dynamics, community ecology, and ecological processes such as energy flow, nutrient cycling, and succession. Understand endangered species and their ecology. Dive into the ecology of endangered species, the species at risk of extinction due to declining population numbers and habitat loss. Learn about the ecological requirements of endangered species, including their habitat preferences, dietary needs, reproductive biology, and interactions with other species. Identify threats to endangered species. Investigate the primary threats to endangered species and their habitats, including habitat destruction, fragmentation, pollution, climate change, invasive species, overexploitation, and disease. Learn about the direct and indirect factors contributing to species decline and the importance of addressing these threats for conservation success. Study habitat ecology and restoration. Explore habitat ecology, the study of the physical and biological components of habitats and their role in supporting biodiversity. Learn about habitat types such as forests, wetlands, grasslands, deserts, and aquatic ecosystems, and the ecological processes that shape them. Study habitat restoration techniques such as reforestation, wetland restoration, riparian corridor restoration, and habitat connectivity enhancement. Learn about conservation biology principles. Gain insights into conservation biology, the interdisciplinary field that focuses on the study and preservation of biodiversity. Learn about principles such as landscape ecology, conservation genetics, population viability analysis, and ecosystem-based conservation approaches applied to endangered species conservation and habitat preservation. Explore wildlife monitoring and research techniques. Investigate wildlife monitoring and research techniques used to study endangered species and their habitats. Learn about field survey methods such as camera trapping, radio telemetry, acoustic monitoring, and mark recapture studies, as well as non-invasive sampling techniques for genetic and population monitoring. Understand conservation planning and management. Study conservation planning and management strategies aimed at protecting endangered species and preserving their habitats. Learn about protected area design and management, species recovery planning, habitat conservation planning, and adaptive management approaches that integrate scientific research, stakeholder engagement, and policy implementation. Stay informed about conservation policy and legislation. Keep up to date with conservation policy and legislation at local, national, and international levels aimed at protecting endangered species and their habitats. Learn about environmental laws, regulations, and international agreements such as the Endangered Species Act, Convention on Biological Diversity, and Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. Engage in habitat restoration and conservation projects. Get involved in habitat restoration and conservation projects aimed at preserving endangered species and restoring their habitats. Volunteer with conservation organizations, participate in citizen science initiatives, and contribute to habitat restoration efforts in local communities and natural areas. Raise awareness and advocate for conservation. Raise awareness and advocate for conservation efforts to protect endangered species and their habitats. Educate others about the importance of biodiversity conservation, habitat preservation, and the interconnectedness of ecosystems. Advocate for policies and practices that promote sustainable development, wildlife conservation, and environmental stewardship at local, national, and global levels. By following these steps and immersing yourself in the ecology of endangered species and habitat preservation, you can contribute to efforts to conserve biodiversity and protect ecosystems for future generations. Your exploration and engagement may help address the urgent challenges of species extinction and habitat loss, and promote a more sustainable and resilient relationship between humans and the natural world.